So everyone, I just wanted to give my very quick thoughts on CrossCode because I started playing this game and I know that there's a bunch of people who watch my videos, like 2 or 3 of them, who are like, yeah, I like hearing you talk about what you think about games and stuff. So about CrossCode. Basically, the base game is totally fine and I actually quite like the base game. The problem is, this is one of those games that does so many things where you just think to yourself, man, I actually hate it when games do that. Why do games do that? It's one of those things that is not really like something that's a really terrible thing that like ruins the game experience. Like not at all. It's just a small thing that, where you just go, why did they do that? I didn't like that. Like a small thing. Like for example, the first thing is it's a story where the main character has amnesia and doesn't really have any personality to them whatsoever other than they're a good person. And that's pretty much the entire main character, what they're about. Great! As if we didn't have enough of that shit in stories. And if I was a god and I was able to change the world, what I would do is I would go into the brains of every single person in the universe and tell them, don't write stories that involve fucking amnesia, because it's the dumbest shit you can put in a game, in any story, not even just game. This is this is not even something that is about just games in general, just stories in general. Like, why? This is the dumbest shit you can do. And of course, right at the start, we also figure out that apparently our character is very special. There's something immensely special about our character. Maybe our character is like some sort of chosen one or has some sort of ties and connection to some secret thing that you don't know, and you have to figure out what that secret thing is and why your character is so amazingly important. This is some of the dumbest writing you can do, but you know what? Like I said, it's not something that would ruin the experience. I know that a lot of people don't care. Only people that actually care about writing would care about this, and if you don't care about writing, you just want to have a good experience, you just want to get in, play some games, smite some enemies, throw some balls around, then it doesn't even matter. Like the story right now, where I'm playing right now, doesn't even matter. This character could be anyone, it doesn't matter. So it's only really something that matters for cutscenes. So, like I said, this is something that's small, but oh my god, do I hate it. Like when the game started and it turns out our character had amnesia, I literally did this. Why? Why? And that's literally what I did. That's literally what happened. So, that out of the way, the game continues, and we meet a bunch of other characters. For example, we have this guy next to us, or girl. I don't actually know if this is a guy or a girl. I really don't know. You could, because the thing is, either it's a she and she is mostly flat, because they could also be pecs. She has something there, but it kills with pecs. I don't know. Whatever. We don't actually know. A guy or a girl. And I'm just gonna say he is just... Or, oh, the other characters as well are just irritating. This is another bit of writing where it's like... This is something that you see quite often by writers who are like, okay, I just want to create characters that are polarizing, and something that the player who looks at these characters is gonna be like on board with. Like, I'm on board with this character, yeah, I want to be around this character. So what do? You give the character like a really eccentric personality and have them talk all the fucking time about their own personal like their enthusiasm for everything, and or not even the enthusiasm. You just make them super eccentric. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Okay, maybe let's describe it like this. The guy meets you, and he's like, hey, I'm this and that guy. Who are you? Oh, great, let's go on an adventure together. I'm sure I can beat this faster than you can. And then he does it, and you're like, oh, I knew I could beat it faster than you. Hey, let's go over there and check this out. So... And then you meet another character who's like, oh, I'm sure you cheated. I'm gonna fight you. And I'm gonna prove that you are just a poser. Because I'm the cool guy and I'm gonna be your rival. And it's like all these characters are like having this theater of a story going on with all their personalities. And you're just sitting there. Also, your character is just sitting there being like, okay, your character doesn't really talk, but even if she could, I don't think much would be different, because all these other characters are having their own, like, theater of a story, and you're just sitting there, not even being involved in anything. It's just like, okay, you do your stuff, I'm just gonna be over there, hitting the skip cutscene button, hoping that I get back to the gameplay. super eccentric characters are not very good, sadly. I mean, a lot of people probably, like I said, if you don't care about writing, you just want to play some cool game, then once again, it doesn't actually matter too much. Like, you don't even care. Right now, this character is right next to me. It doesn't even matter who that character is. It's because I'm just beating up a cow. So, who cares? So that's why I said something small, but still something where you just think to yourself, oh, why? Because it also means that your characters around you are experiencing the story while your character is just standing around and is just along for the ride. Our character doesn't really have any agency. Our character is just being strung along in the story. And I hate it when games do that. Like, how do we get the main character involved in the story? Oh yeah, we're just gonna have other characters around the main character have their story, and I guess the main character is just sort of gonna hang around. By the way, I'm playing like shit right now because I'm actually concentrating on the game. But I really fucking hate that because our main character is pretty much a no one. I mean, he would be. They would be a no one. It's a girl. They would be a no one if we weren't somehow an amnesiac chosen one who's apparently really, really important, and we're gonna find that out at some point. I hate that shit so much. Anyway, on to the next point. What I've what this game does, where I think to myself, oh, why is this like this? There was a point in the story. I was actually, by the way, I should have said this earlier, but this is only just like 1 or 2 hours into the game. Like I haven't actually played that much, but. This is mostly a first how would you say it? A quick little look at the first impression of this video of this game. By the way, these are the first few enemies in the game, and they're fucking annoying. One type of enemy rolls around all the time. The other type of enemy digs around all the time. Yes, very fun, by the way, very fun. So I was having a duel against a guy. And you would think to yourself, okay, this is the story of the game is that we're in some MMO, yeah? This is like sort of like a virtual reality MMO kind of story that hasn't really been done well before. Because it really hasn't been done well before. I'm sorry, guys. I hated Log Horizon, to be honest. But to be more about this game, we have to fight a guy in a duel and a PvP. And okay, so we're in an MMO. This is supposed to be a duel in an MMO. I've played a bunch of MMOs in my life. I played Final Fantasy XIV, I played Guild Wars 1 and 2. Oh no, wait, just 2. Played a bit of Arcade, a bit of Archlord. I've played a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft. I don't know if I mentioned those already, but I've played a shit on MMOs, and I like dueling. I like dueling in games. I remember, like, I spent like 2 or 3 years of my life dueling people in front of Ironforge in World of Warcraft, like at least an hour a day. I was like, damn, I was so into that. So I was like, okay, since this is in this game, certainly, I know that the other guy that I'm fighting has supposedly the same class that I have in this game. So, since I know what I can do, I know what that guy can do. And I know how the rules of the game function. Because I know how the rules of the game function, I can use those rules to my advantage to outfight the guy. I know that if I, as a character, get hit by something, it stuns me for a short amount of time. And I can get comboed if that happens. Okay. So if I can try and just dash into range, the dash has invincibility on it. I can use the invincibility to dash past his combo and start my own combo, and I can supplement the combo with this special ability that I have that requires SP, and so I can kind of keep it in a combo and try and rush him down while trying to dodge his combos and all of that. Yeah, none of that actually happens. I mean, none of that actually works, because it turns out the guy functions on a different rule set than what you function, even though you're both supposed to be the same kind of fucking player. Why is the... I don't understand. This is not something that just this game does. This is something that other games do the same, where you're supposed to have other different characters that are supposedly functioning on the same rule set, but then the enemies function on a different rule set. I mean, Dark Souls, when you fight a guy, a regular humanoid guy, they function with the same rule set that you have. They also have stamina and stuff, you just don't see it. Like if you fight a Hollow or a Knight, just any Knight in Dark Souls, they have exactly the same rule set that you have, because they're supposed to. Then here, you know what the rule set behind this guy is that I fought? First off, your attacks don't stun him. So, but his attacks stun you all the time. Meaning that if he whiffs an attack and you go in and you start punching him, you do one punch, he starts his combo, punches you, combos you down, he starts a special, and you can't cancel his special, so he specials you down, and oh my god, why the fuck is this a thing? I mean, the fight wasn't actually difficult. I beat the fight right away. I beat the fight first try. Let me just get that out of the way. It wasn't hard. That was not the problem. The fight was not hard. That was not the problem. If the fight was hard, I mean, that would be a different thing, but the fight wasn't even hard. The reason why I'm so mad is because why is this supposed to be an MMO where everyone is a player, but other people function on a completely different rule set than what you function on? It's just brain-numbingly dumb, actually. I don't understand this. So, if you try to attack him at any point, he doesn't get stunned, so he attacks back, you get stunned, and you get comboed almost to death. It's so dumb. And so what you have to do is you have to wait for him to use a special, which, if he was intelligent, he would never do because he could just combo you. You would have to wait for him to use a special. He misses the special. After he gets a special, he stands there and just looks at you, and he flashes red like, hey guy, I'm vulnerable right now. Has a big shield that says, look at me, I'm vulnerable. That's what it says on the shield right here, on the sign that I put up right now. And you punch him like once or twice, and then and if you try to attack him too much, it says, oh, you attacked him too much. He breaks out of your combo, and then he starts his own combo again. Amazing. He can also cancel your specials by attacking you. You can't cancel his specials, though. Oh my god, I don't understand why you would do this. But like I said, it wasn't hard. Once I realized that you just had to wait for him to use a special and then attack him afterwards, it was easy as fuck. It was almost trivial, even. But why is this even a thing? And is this just... And I think... I mean, also, that guy charged forwards. It hit me while I was, like, behind him or, like, at his flank. Hitboxes. Or just stuff like this. Also, multiple enemies I've seen so far charge up a charge attack while I, like, rush at you and try to punch you. And you can, like, dance around them, like, 360 like them. They will always attack directly towards your spot. So, you can, like, try and dodge their attack before their attack launches. But no, you have to... dodge their attack after their attack is on the way, but yeah, whatever, that's just a small thing. I don't know. Overall, I think the game is fine. I mean, I've ranted quite a bit. Overall, I think the game is fine. The game is fun. It's fun to run around and use some spell. Comboing is satisfying. The controls is mostly quite... It plays quite nicely on the control scheme for the most part. It's quick to go around, do some dash, you hear bam bam, do skills. You can like actually do some really quick movement and react to stuff. Maybe if you're attacking too much, the screen gets a bit cluttered at times. Like if there's 2 or 3 enemies and you're attacking into them, you can't really tell what the enemies are doing sometimes because your hit sparks and numbers flying up are all covering up the enemy. But you can turn those off, I think, and you can turn on I think you can turn on graphic settings. I don't know. So you can kind of go around that. So once again, it's not a small thing. There's nothing big that's wrong with the game. There's just a bunch of stuff in there, like I said, where you just go, why is this like this? Why is this like this? Where it becomes obvious that this is an indie game. This is one of those things where, I mean, indie games are not specifically the answer to AAA games succumbing to the woes of having to make money. Because then you also have indie games where it's obvious that the guys making these games are not trained professionals or anything of the sort, which sometimes can mean, because they are not bound by conventions of creating games, they can make some cool stuff that other people couldn't because they're not bound down by conventions. But at the same time, they could also make mistakes where you're like, okay, no one who actually understands a lot about game design would make these mistakes. So, I don't know. These are my 2 cents. Usually I don't make reviews of this on games, but just recently, I mean, I like one of you guys telling me like, hey, we like you when you talk about games. I was like, okay, cool. And I got really annoyed at the start of this game when I first, the amnesia thing, the characters being way too eccentric and the story just happening around you. And of course that thing with the combat that I was just talking about. But yeah, that was. I hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time.